Hey everybody, Andy here with Mossy Creek Fly Fishing. Today is Monday, September 16th, and I'll be bringing you the fishing forecast this week. Looks like the week ahead is going to potentially bring us some rain, which we could use. We've got some low water across the valley here, and a little bit of rain will refresh a lot of our streams and help kick us off into a good fall season. We're only about a week away from the start of fall. We're only about 2 weeks away from the start of stocking season. We're definitely on a bit of a cooling trend, so things are changing. We've got some exciting trout fishing to look forward to, not too far off. We've still got some good smallmouth fishing going on. Musky fishing starting to return, so we got a good bit to talk about this week. So let's jump into things. I'll start by talking about our mountain streams. On the brook trout side of things, reports over the last few weeks have kind of continually been very good whenever there's good water flows in the streams. So for a few days following a rainfall, folks are getting out, they're catching lots of fish, they're catching big fish, and then basically every day that water gets lower and lower, the numbers of fish are dropping, the size of fish is dropping, and that's just because those fish are moving back to those pools and they're getting spooky again, and so they get harder to catch. So this week we've got a little bit of a tropical system moving its way up the coast. It looks like it's kind of heading towards our west a little bit, but we're hoping to get some rain out of it. They're calling for maybe up to an inch or a little bit more, and we'll see what happens with that. But if we do get that, we're going to see those brook trout streams jump a little bit in terms of their water flow. And weather is perfect. We've got temperatures in the 70s during the day and 50s at night, so awesome trout fishing weather. And so if you are able to get out after that rain, we'll probably have a good week or so of awesome brook trout fishing following that. And just like we've been saying for a while now, those brook trout following those rainfall events are going to be eating like crazy, and so you don't need to be terribly precise on your fly selection. I know a lot of the folks I spoke with this last week who were fishing and catching them were just taking things like a purple parachute or our UV parawolf pattern, and they were catching tons of fish. They weren't doing anything specific, but just taking advantage of those good flows and eager feeding fish. So it'd be a great time to get out and do that. If you're out in the morning and it's a little cooler, I'd probably put a nymph on with your dry fly. You may find some of those fish aren't as willing to come all the way up to the surface when we've got those cool mornings, but as the day moves on and you get a little bit of the sun heating things up, you can probably get into some fish on that end of things. And so that's kind of going to be the story for the brook trout fishing. Just watch your flows. As we get into fall here, low water's your killer, but if we have good rain, you'll have great fishing following that. Now, let's talk about our spring creeks a little bit. So spring creeks, we're in sort of a transitional period right now. We still have tricos in the morning, we still have hoppers, there's still hecks around, but we have some cooler weather in the mix, and so some days those fish aren't as eager to come up to the surface, but I've been telling folks, start and try with a dry dropper. Try your hopper patterns, try other attractor terrestrials like a PMX with a nymph below it, and see how the fish respond. If they aren't willing to come up or you're getting hesitation from them, then switch over. Start going to your smaller streamers, dredge bottom a little bit. Now, if we get that inch of rain and you get out and Mossy or Beaver has some good flow and it's maybe a little off color, you can size that streamer up. You can throw some of your bigger articulated stuff and look for some of those bigger fish taking advantage of that off-color water and get into some bigger fish during that time period as well. And as far as your streamer selection goes, just base it off of your water color. If you're super clear, go to those smaller like jig sculpin patterns, jig leech patterns, and if the water's up and dirty, again, you can size those patterns up. Now, looking at some other trout options, you can obviously still go fish your tailwater streams, but here in a couple of weeks we're going to have the state start stocking again, and so right now is a good time to start filling your fly boxes with some of your stock trout patterns. When those fish are brand new to their environment, they're going to eat those attractor patterns very well, so things with orange and pink and those bright flashy colors are going to be key for that. So if you're a tyer, get your materials, get that box filled up. If not, we've got plenty here in the store, so come on by. and once we get to that time period, you'll be able to watch the state's website and see what gets stocked. So we'll update more on that when we get a little bit closer, but we're not too far off now. Talking about some of our bigger river options, let's start with smallmouth. Smallmouth fishing over the last week or so in the low clear water has been a little bit tough as the fish are real spooky. They're hungry, they want to feed, but you got to make long casts, and you're finding pods of fish as well. So what that means is you may float 100 yards of a bank, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's all your fish in one spot. And so they're grouping up as the water cools down, and it's easier to spook fish when they're grouped up like that. You know, you start spooking one or two, and they end up kind of spooking the rest of them. So make sure you're fishing well ahead of the boat in those low clear water situations. Try to get those flies to fish that don't know you're there yet. You know, leave the back of the boat alone. No need to be casting behind you. Those are fish that are spooked, and stay out ahead of you. If you're wade fishing, move slow, try to keep your profile low, and that's going to help you a lot on those spooky fish. But again, hopefully we'll get some rain, and if we do get that rain, the water's going to come up a little bit, and we're going to be sort of pushed into another good couple of weeks where those fish will be feeding a lot more aggressively because they'll be a lot less spooky. So we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. And then this last weekend, we had folks getting out musky fishing. Our temperatures have dropped. Nick is out on the river this morning, took a water temp at 65 degrees. So we're into that range now where it's okay to fish for musky, and the fish are very aggressive at these water temps usually. So great time of year to get out and do that. And if y'all are interested, we've got guide trips available in the not too far off future, so you can give us a call and we can get you out on the river if you want to target one of the toughest fish to catch, but one of the most rewarding as well. And that'll continue, you know, through the fall and into winter. But this is a great time of year where you can get a lot of activity from fish with these warmer water temps. Their metabolisms are higher. And so when that water starts cooling down, they'll start feeding like crazy. So good time to get out and do that if you have the opportunity to as well. And that pretty much does it for us this week. So keep an eye out for that rain. If we get a good bit and the water comes up, get out and streamer fish on the spring creeks. Expect your smallmouth fishing to be good, and get out and musky fish too. So lots to do, and we'll come back to you next week with some more updates. And if we do get good rain this week, we'll try to get some posts out on social media to let you all know what the water conditions are looking like. Thanks so much. Have a good one.